Before I start, just a very small disclaimer. I'm not here to talk about greenwashing or green hushing. All I have to say about that is it's bad, don't do it. I'm here to talk about how Asahi, the company I work for, or how the private sector is taking sustainability communication and marketing and using it to possibly amplify the connection and the engagement we can have with consumers or citizens, and eventually use the same communication to increase the speed with which we are doing sustainability implementation. I think, like me, a lot of you are from the sustainability world, and if you remember, one of the earliest and biggest challenges of climate change or sustainability was the inability of climate scientists to translate the depth, the urgency, the credibility of climate science into a simple and a meaningful way to the rest of the world. And forget acceptance, action, we were failing in phase 0 of communication. The reason I'm sharing this history is because the science is the same. If anything, it has become a little bit more complex. Hence, the challenge is the same when we talk about sustainability communication. And how long did it take? It took decades of scientific journals, papers, movies, documentaries, Al Gore, Leonardo DiCaprio's to open the floodgates. And it is a beautiful moment to be in sustainability right now because the action is really full on. You walk down a grocery store or a drugstore. I'm from Amsterdam. In my grocery store, there is a separate aisle dedicated to sustainable products. Green, eco-friendly, cage-free, vegan, I don't know, pigs can fly. Everything is there in that aisle. It's good, but what does it really mean? What do these labels and these claims really mean? Do consumers care about it? Yes, we already know that. But I think the bigger question is, which ones do they care about? Why? And how much? And that was the challenge we took, right? Let's break it down a little bit more and try and understand it better. If you go with a very generic claim, very vanilla like green or eco-friendly coffee, you'll see maybe about 2% growth in sales compared to a non-ESG claim product. If you drive it up a notch, maybe make it specific, let's say 100% recyclable packaging, shoots up to 4%. And if you really go for the kill, you say something ambitious and credible like carbon neutral product, the growth goes up to 8 to 9%. And that's where we all want to be, right? But the question is, how do we get there? And the problem, which is a good problem, is that all of us are doing the same things. I'm from Asahi, we make beer, Heineken, Diageo, AB InBev, all of my competitors and peers, we're all doing the same things. Electricity, heat, water, waste, transportation, cooling, and the rest. But sustainability is that one key communication plan. If we overlap it with marketing, it can give our brands a halo. It actually can be our differentiator. And that's how we're looking at sustainability. We have to do it anyway. Let's just make a good game plan on how we use that to connect with our consumers. There are a lot of inspirational sustainability campaigns out there. I'm pretty sure you've all seen it, liked it, engaged with it. And we looked at it too, because we really want to learn from the others as well. But before we got into our communication game, let's face it, climate science can be very heavy. Credible, yes. Fun and engaging, maybe not so much. And we're not in denial, we know that. And as a beer brand, our job is to bring people together, family and friends having a good time. If that is our product and sustainability is our purpose, how do we take something that complicated and heavy and simplify it, but still keep the power of the message intact? And we've learned our lesson, because oversimplification can backfire. We thought, okay, if we wait for our entire value chain to decarbonize, we have nothing to say until 2050 or 2030, so let's just go home. And that's why we broke it down, and not just us, everybody in the private sector. We've broken it down into building blocks. What are we doing on cooling, agriculture, transportation, packaging? And we've set different milestones for each one of those. We have a 2025 target, 100% renewable electricity. And then we have a target for 2030, carbon neutral breweries. But then even within those, year on year, we have different targets set up. So when in one of our breweries in Poland, we got 100% renewable electricity, we were overjoyed. Yay! Let's communicate with our consumers. And we put a little windmill logo on our product, which was produced from that brewery. And the consumers actually engaged with us. And the question was, Preeti, this is made out of renewable energy? No, just the electricity part. Oh, so you haven't done heat? Yeah, that's the next step. And the packaging? No, but that's for 2030. And the whole narrative shifted. And that's when we realized oversimplification is not the answer. So the next campaign that we did for Pilsner Urquell, we realized it's not about just the statistics. We need to share the story with our consumers. We shared with them, why are we doing it? How are we doing it? How much CO2 did it reduce? And whether we were transferring the costs of doing it to the consumer. And that was a really big learning lesson for us, that let's not take our consumers and our citizens for granted. They actually want to know the details. They actually want access to all the data and the evidence behind it. The next learning lesson for us was, once we started sharing all of this data, there was a point where the consumer engagement became so high that we realized one-way street doesn't cut it anymore. And that's when we decided on Peroni, one of our other brands. We put a QR code. You can access it as a consumer, and you can see which farmer grew your barley, the path that your beer has taken from the brewery till it hit your table. And that really resonated with the consumers. And that was a really good lesson for us, because I don't think they want to be spoon-fed. I think they want to be part of the ambition. They want to be part of the action. And this hit home so well that we actually went ahead and did it for the other brands as well. One thing as a disclaimer again, you can't be amazing in one area of sustainability and have a campaign around it while you're shit in all the other areas. That just doesn't fly. The other thing to remember is that in all of your, regardless of sector, regardless of geography, you will all have some lucky products in your portfolio. The ones that have sustainability in their DNA. We were lucky as well. We have a brand, Juber, which has an endangered species bison as its logo for the last 50 years. And they do work on biodiversity. So the campaign around that was spot on. But that happens in a blue moon. The remaining 99% of our products are actually built on a different legacy. And now we're trying to map sustainability on top of it. And that can come across as very artificial. And that's why it's very important to make sure that the ethos and the DNA of the product is reflected in the communication campaign that you do. The other thing we learned was there are a lot of stories on sustainability communication. There are a lot of ads, there are a lot of products, a lot of campaigns, but there are very few great stories. And there is room for creative storytelling on sustainability. The final bit regardless of what you do or regardless of what we do, I think we all hold ourselves to a higher standard of everything being credible, everything based on data, everything based on evidence, everything certified by a third party, and everything accessible to anybody who wants to look at it. The rest of it, I think I've spoken about it with all of you. But everything I'm saying, please take it with a pinch of salt, because I make beer, and if you make vaccines, you may want to come with a different play. The ethos and the principles remain the same, but depending on the sector and the product that you're making and the company's purpose that you serve, I think the communication story changes, but the principles can be reused. And I'm not saying that we have unpacked it all. Still learning, we're still trying to figure it out. We have a chief marketing officer in our company, and when I and we sit together, we always talk about finding your right date or your right partner. You want them to be credible, so data science, all of that should be there. But you want them to be inspiring. You want them to be engaging. And that's where the marketing comes into play. And we have actually completely integrated our sustainability and marketing plan because we are a consumer goods company, because we don't stand to cut it at all unless all of our consumers and prospective consumers understand where we are going on sustainability. I'll stop at that because I'm looking at the timer, and I also want to see if anybody has any questions or comments or learnings that you want to share. I don't know where I should look for it. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mandeep Rai from the Values Compass. That was really well presented, thank you. I just wanted to ask, I appreciate you make beer, but what's your why in terms of getting involved in all of this, and what values are driving you? Thank you.
Good question. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have just said, oh, time's up, gotta go. But last 2-3 years, we've been on that journey, including myself. So we've been on that journey as a company, as Asahi, and we were partnering with a university which really does good work on purpose, and they asked us, they said, Preeti, what do you do? We make beer. No, but what is your purpose? To make beer. And he said, no, you have to think beyond that. What is your purpose? What is your purpose behind making beer? Tomorrow, if you stop making beer, will you stop being a Asahi? Will you stop being a company? And that has taken us 2 years to find that the purpose of us being here as a company is to create meaningful connections. And that's our official purpose now. Those connections could be with planet. That's the sustainability part. Those connections could be with people. We are looking at a lot of social campaigns. We're looking at one of the sustainability targets for me, actually, is that we will have 20% of our portfolio in non-alcoholic products by 2030, because we want to have choices and we want to be inclusive to every consumer area. So I think we're on a journey of discovering our purpose, and this purpose will stand true even if we stop making beer tomorrow. And I think that's the goal we are working towards. As of now, I think we're going to continue making beer for the next 7 years.
Thanks very much, Preeti, for an excellent session. I am a keen Asahi drinker, but it's great to hear about all the purpose behind it. So we're going to move on to the next session now.
Sure.
I'm sure Preeti will be around for later on this afternoon if you have any more questions, so do come and find her. But please give a round of applause to Preeti.
Thank you, everybody.